Hey friends, welcome back to my channel Organized with Joy. I'm Joy, and in today's video I am bringing you some special content because it is in collaboration with several other ladies here on YouTube, and we are all sharing different Halloween inspired content for you. And today I am going to be sharing 3 different recipes with you. One is from a cookbook that I really love. Another one is one that I just kind of made up but was inspired by that cookbook. And then a third one is a recipe that I found online, and I will be sharing with you how I do my Halloween twist on that recipe. But before I get into it, I just want to let you know that I will have the playlist for all of these lovely ladies' videos linked in my description box below. So for all of your Halloween content inspiration, definitely check out that link. I know several of these ladies very well, and they all are sure to have amazing content. So all of my recipes that I'm sharing with you today are for different types of diets. I will share one recipe that is vegan friendly, and I will make it the vegan friendly version, and I will also make a paleo version of the same recipe. And then I will have some paleo breadsticks that I will be sharing with you, and those come directly from this cookbook. If you have not heard of Danielle Walker and you are into paleo or whole food eating, definitely check out her cookbooks. She has several cookbooks. Her most famous and her first one was Against All Grain, but this one is the Celebrations version, and she has a lot of great recipes in here for every celebration you can think of, and of course Halloween included. So these breadsticks are the witch's fingers breadsticks. And then she also has some really cute peanut butter cookies with little spiders on top, and I will make that a vegan version of the cookie. So it definitely was inspired by the cookie that she shared in here, but her version is paleo and therefore cannot be made vegan, but the version that I'm making is vegan. And for those of you who are new here or just don't know, I make a lot of vegan food because my daughter, who currently is living with us, is vegan. But in addition to that, I try to stay away from dairy and eggs. So don't always stay away from it, but I try to eat as minimal amount of dairy and eggs as possible. So I just thought I would share these different diet recipes for you for some inspiration if you need some inspiration for Halloween. And you of course could tweak these recipes to your liking. You don't have to use the ingredients that I use. You could just be inspired by what I'm sharing today. So let's get into it. So I'm actually starting by making the cookies, and here I'm just showing you all the ingredients that I used for these cookies. And the first thing I'm going to do is make my flax egg, and that's how I make this recipe vegan. I just add 1 tablespoon of flaxseed meal to 3 tablespoons of water and mix it up and let it set for a couple of minutes. I decided to start with the cookies just because it's easy to go ahead and make them and then set them aside while I work on the rest of our dinner. But I will be sure to type out the ingredients and instructions for these cookies. It is a recipe that I've had for a very long time, and I've just tweaked it over the years and made it gluten-free and vegan for our family's dietary needs. You might notice that I'm only using 1 bowl here. I know traditionally with cookie recipes, you add all the wet ingredients together and the dry ingredients together and slowly add in the dry ingredients. But I basically just add everything except for the flour and mix it up and add the flour in last. I don't like dirtying up a bunch of dishes, so that is what I do for this recipe. And there I just showed you, I almost forgot to put the xanthan gum in this, and that helps to bind the gluten-free flour together. I always just keep a big jar of gluten-free flour mix on hand, and typically I like to put almond flour, brown rice flour, and then tapioca starch or tapioca flour and just mix them all together. But this particular batch actually, instead of the brown rice flour, had chickpea flour just because it was given to me by someone who didn't want it. And so I decided to substitute the rice flour for that chickpea flour just so that I could use that up. As I showed you there, I love that Enjoy Life brand chocolate chips. They're vegan and they're gluten-free. That's why we use them for our family. But I like to melt my chocolate chips just in the microwave. I find this to be the easiest way. You just want to be sure to not overcook them. So here I'm just going ahead and putting a thumbprint on each of the cookies once they've cooled enough to the touch, and that is where the body of the spider will go. So there you could see I'm just using a cup to hold my icing bag in place. I will say that it was a struggle to get this to work, and I think it's because maybe the chocolate started hardening as I was doing this process. So at first it was easy, but then it got harder as it went on. So much so that I kind of cut some of the clips of me trying and struggling with this icing bag. This was getting close to time for me to make dinner, so obviously my dishwasher was getting quite full from the rest of the day, so I decided to go ahead and get some dishes done before I started on the next item that I'm going to be making, and I just wanted to get this dishwasher run before I made dinner. Next up, I'm making these cute witch's fingers, and I am using the exact recipe from her cookbook. And since this cookbook is copyrighted, I don't feel comfortable sharing the exact recipe with you. It is an almond flour based recipe, but I will certainly link the cookbook in the description box below if this cookbook sounds like something you might be interested in purchasing.
I hear a voice and so I freeze, but I can't move between the known and the unknown. I search for you, for you, for you.
the cookbook, she suggested serving it with marinara sauce, so that is what I'm setting up here. The last recipe that I will be working on today is stuffed peppers, and stay tuned and watch how I make these Halloween style. Here, I'm just showing you that I'm using avocado oil to brush onto the peppers as was suggested in the recipe that I'm following specifically for the vegan version of these. I found this recipe on a website called The Minimalist Baker, and I really love this website. It's definitely a go-to for me to find great vegan recipes. She also has a lot of gluten-free friendly recipes as well. I will definitely link this specific recipe in the description box below. For my husband, my son, and myself, I will be making a paleo version of this, and I am just going to be making my taco meat recipe. I don't like using the packets for taco seasoning, so I just kind of made up my own version of that, and I can go ahead and type that out in the description box below, but here I'm showing you which spices specifically I use, and like I said, I will type it up to share with you exactly what I do.
They don't know, but I do. They don't see inside you.
While the taco meat is cooking, I'm just going ahead and working on my daughter's stuffed pepper, and I followed the Minimalist Baker's stuffed pepper recipe exactly, and I will link that specific recipe because she definitely has several stuffed pepper recipes, but this one I used pinto beans, cauliflower rice, spices she suggested, and some salsa. For ours, it was very simple. It was just that taco meat with cauliflower rice and the salsa. And I don't have exact proportions. You'll see me add in a little bit more cauliflower rice here in a minute as I notice it kind of needed more. I just kind of do whatever looks like a good amount. Here is what the stuffed peppers are looking like before I put them in the oven, and I decided while those were baking I would go ahead and clean up the kitchen. I always love having recipes like this where they can bake and I can go ahead and get the kitchen cleaned before dinner. Since I had the time, I went ahead and did some more cleaning in the kitchen. I hope you enjoy this extra cleaning motivation that you get in this video in addition to the Halloween inspired content. Well, that is all I have for you in today's video. If you are coming over from one of the other ladies' channels, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. I hope that it was motivational and inspirational. And I wanted to give a special thank you to my friend Michaela for putting this collab together. It was definitely a lot of fun. Thanks so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.